So we gotta know what aircraft it's on. So when it says nationality and registration mark, the nationality is the United States, so that's N. All right? Now, what's the registration mark? Let's make one up. Let's say it's N2325X. That's the registration number. All right. What's the serial number? Where would I go for that?
The data plate?
The data plate? Where else?
Should
Could.
Airworthiness or
If you want to be more precise, just in case somebody made a mistake in logbook, where can I get the serial number more precise? Besides the data plate, because that's a good place to go. What?
The type certificate data sheet?
No, the type certificate data sheet is generally for a type of aircraft, not necessarily this airplane.
Wouldn't it be on like airworthiness or registration?
Yeah, it would be. It would be on the registration certificate, and your airworthiness certificate that's in the airplane, because that's serial number specified. That's why the airworthiness certificate goes with the aircraft. So you can get off the airworthiness certificate. So let's say, for instance, it's serial number 123. All right, what kind of aircraft is it? Let's say it's a Piper. That's the make. Model. You know what? I don't know Piper aircraft. Does anybody know a model Piper that might have a supercharged engine? Let's make one up. Let's say it's a PA. I have no idea. I don't know Pipers. PA 65. There. Let's say it's PA 65. This ain't going anywhere. This is just your stuff to keep. Is there a series? I don't know. If there's no series, you don't ever want to leave blank spots on official forms, because that could be construed as you just left it blank, but you should have filled it out. So what you want to do is you can put a dash. That tells everybody in the world that you addressed that block, there is no series. If you just blank, even on a checklist, you don't want to leave a blank block on a checklist. If that thing on a checklist doesn't apply, don't leave it blank. Address that block, is putting a line in it, or just going NA, like not applicable. Okay, name as shown on registration certificate. All right, that's pretty easy. At least it tells you where to go, if that's what they want. So let's say it's ABC Warehouse, right? And then the address. So it's 123 Main Street, Detroit, Michigan. I don't know what the zip code is in Detroit, because I don't care about that side of the state. Whatever you want to put down. Country, US, USA, whatever, something like that. Okay, so that's how that would go. Actually, I like Detroit. I mean, you got the Tigers, you got the Red Wings, and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm only saying that because it's being recorded. Okay, so block 3 is for FAA use. So one of the things that they'll do is if you need a field approval to say, hey, I have really no data to do a repair or something like that, so I'm going to use the 4313 because it has everything in there that I need for this aircraft. So then the FAA would say, okay, I approve that. Go ahead. You always want to get it approved before you do the work. Now listen to me very carefully. You always want to have approved data before the work starts. That would be an FAA question. Okay? So, moving on. But we already have approved data. Oh, no. We already have approved data, right? We have, what kind of manual are we going to use?
Maintenance.
Yeah. Specifically, the overhaul manual. Right? We're going to overhaul the engine. Just unfortunately, it's a supercharged engine, so we have to do a 337 for it. So, what are we doing? Repair or alteration? We're doing a repair. On what? The airframe, power plant, proper appliance.
Power.
So we're doing a repair on on the power plant. What kind of power plant? Let's say it's, for instance, it's a Continental. And then the model would be, let's say, for instance, it's an I-0550. It's a big engine, it's got a supercharger on it. And then it might have some letters at the end of it, like B1, D5 or something like that. Then you gotta have the serial number of the engine. Where would you get the serial number of the engine?
Data plate.
Data plate. There's always a data plate on an engine, so you get the serial number off of that. So let's say, for instance, it's 321. All right, just for example. That's all we need. Now listen. Okay, go ahead.
If the data set is damaged, do you find that info like by looking at the N number or the
Possibly.
different?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Text you a data sheet. Not for the serial number, for the model number you have. But for the serial number, if the data plate is damaged, you'd probably have to look at getting a new data plate, because that needs to be repaired.
But how do they know the info? If that data plate is like, how do they then give you a new data plate? They have a good, where are they getting that data from?
You can call manufacturer, call Continental, say, hey, I got a damaged data plate. But you can also make your own data plate too, as long as you certify it with your logbook entry.
Yeah, but like you don't know what the serial number is.
Oh, yeah, you have to go back in the records. Go back into the records, somewhere is gonna be something that has to do with that engine with the serial number on it. Yeah, that's why record keeping is so important, it really helps us out if we get into situations like that. Yes?
With 2 repairs, we would be filling out 2 of these forms, or if we can put them both in these boxes.
What 2 repairs? We're only gonna do one engine.
Yeah, we're doing engine, and then we're also replacing the prop.
We're replacing the prop? That would be different. Yeah, I wouldn't combine them on the 1 3 through 7
And
form.
if they were 2 appliances, would you still do 2?
You might be able to combine them. That would be a common sense kind of thing, if you could. So we're just gonna do one engine. Yes?
So we're making this engine the supercharged, but it wasn't supercharged before, so why is that?
No, we're not.
Repair?
It is a supercharged engine,
We're just replacing it.
and we're overhauling it because it's beat up. It's burning oil, it's got bad compression, it's just a bad engine. So we're gonna fix it, and we're gonna do it by overhauling it.
Okay.
But because the appendix says that a supercharged engine, overhauling a supercharged engine is a major repair, we have to do a 337 form. That's where we're at now. Okay, so we don't have to go any further, but what I wanted to mention is, let's say, for instance, we are doing an alteration to an airframe or a repair to an airframe. We already put all of the aircraft information up above, didn't we, on your form? So if you're gonna check airframe, either repair or alteration, you don't have to put anything in here. This is not a fillable blank. This is a line through here saying you don't have to do anything because it's already described above. So even though I explained this, over the years, I still get FAA forms where they're still trying to write in all the aircraft data in here. It's just common sense. They said, as described in item 1 above. So it's already up there, so you don't have to do anything. They got big dashes in here. Even though that's actually a fillable thing, but don't have to put it in. Okay, so we're doing repair to a power plant, Continental, I-0550, B1D5, serial number 321. Okay, so what is this block? This is a conformity statement. Yes?
I don't have to put dashes in those because
No, because all I did was check this
you
box.
only checked that one.
Yeah.
So that's what's applying. Everything else is,
Yeah, everything else we don't deal with. We're not dealing with the prop, we're not dealing with the airframe,
Yep.
nothing like that. We just check this box and that's all we need to know. Good question. All right, agency's name and address. So what's the agency? What kind of agencies do we have here? Kind of agency. What kind of agencies do we have?
US certified.
Uh-huh. certified repair station, a certificated maintenance organization. So if we're an A and P and we're gonna overhaul this engine, what are we gonna check? Yeah, where's US certificated mechanic? What's my certificate number? I already said I'm a mechanic, so I don't have to put A and P, it's just asking for the number, isn't it? It's not asking for the type certificate, they already got that. Okay, so my certificate number is, 2453715. I think there's always 7 digits in your A and P number. Now, I certify that the repair or alteration made to the units identified in item 5 above and described on the reverse or attachment hereto have been made in accordance with the requirements of Part 43 of the U.S. Federal Aviation Regulations, and that the information furnished herein is true and correct to the best of my knowledge. So you see, we had a test question that said, when a mechanic signs a 337 form, what is he certifying? He's certifying that he did all the maintenance in accordance with Part 43. Now, should he sign it now? Didn't do the work yet. We didn't even do the work yet. We're gonna. So we got the form, we know we have to get an IA, so we're gonna start filling it out, get this form going. Yes?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I wouldn't be able to sign it, so not that section.
No. This is a US certificated mechanic, not the IA. So when the work is done, the A and P mechanic is gonna sign here. Got it?
No, because I thought major repairs, like, it's on
I'll get to that.
on property.
I'll get to that.
I don't know.
Okay, so this conformity statement is for the mechanic, because this is where the US mechanic would sign when the job is done. So we'll just do that for now. We're gonna leave this blank, because we're not gonna sign it off yet.
What about the address?
What address?
The agency's name and address?
We already filled that in. Where? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're absolutely right. Gosh, thank you. Thank you, see? She's still awake. I'm not. So who am I? Jeez, good catch. I gotta put my address in there. If I'm working for a certified repair station, and I'm authorized to do this repair under certified repair station, then I would put certified repair station, and I would put the repair station's address in here. But we're just an A and P mechanic, and we could be working for a company. I could put the company's name in there. But let's say, for instance, you're an A and P, and you're just gonna put your home address in there. So just put an address in there, city, zip, state, country, that would be filled out, that's you. This is you. What address? If you're working for a shop, you can put the shop's address. It's still your name, okay? It could be the agency's name. So let's say, for instance, you're working for a certified repair station, and it's called ABC Aircraft Repair. And under that ABC Aircraft Repair, you're doing the work. You could put the agency's name and address, and where you work. Then it's gonna be your signature under that ABC. But me, I'm not working for any shop. I have everything I need to overhaul that engine, so I'm just gonna put my name and home address down here, okay? Yes?
Just curious, what's the status of the LLC? Is that it's not a repair station, is it?
Not yet.
Yeah.
It's not a certified repair station.
We're working toward that now?
Yep. But the LLC is because it's separate from the school.
Is Ridge an IA?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
So anyways, if it's the agency's name and address, let's say, for instance, what did I do in my? So let's say, for instance, you're working for ABC Repair Center. And you gotta put the address, city, all this stuff in here, where you work at. So it's not a US certificated mechanic. The kind of agency is now a certificated repair station. Then the certificate number would be whatever's issued to that repair station. And a repair station certificate number is always alphanumeric. So to give you an example, it could be like BACD 145 alpha. That's an example of an actual certificated repair station. It'll be alphanumeric with usually an alpha at the end of it. That's, you can watch for that too in any logbook entries. If it doesn't have an alphanumeric, it's not a repair station. Yes?
That number is not always gonna be 145, or is it?
It's a 145 number.
So that'll always be 145.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Let me not confuse you. Let's say they issued you the number of 746.
Okay.
I don't want to confuse you with 145. Yeah, it'll just be any number.
Okay, cool.
The one for Amway, we're AMCR 163C. That was our repair station. So we signed maintenance off under that certificate number. And type of certificate, certified repair station. So we put CRS. Any simple maintenance, we'd always sign it off under repair station. So there's an example right there. Now, we don't go any further because we didn't do the work. Because it says, I certify that the repair or alteration made. Well, I can't certify it made if it's not done yet. So we'll leave that alone. Moving on. Any questions so far? Are you following me? Pretty straightforward.
When you sign it off in that box when the work's all done, since your number will be in section C there, do you have to put your A and P number with your signature still?
Not if we're working under the agency. Okay, so on the bottom of the form, and this goes back to you too, this is where the A&P or the certified repair station mechanic is gonna sign this off. The approval for return to service. Can the A&P approve for return to service on major repair? No. So this is where the IA is gonna sign it off. So let's say, for instance, pursuant to the authority given persons below, the unit identified in item 5 was inspected in the manner prescribed by the administrator of the FAA and is okay. Well, let's do the repair first too, before the IA comes in and does any of this stuff. But he is gonna be this. And then he's gonna have his certificate, and he's gonna sign and date. Now, guys, previous classes, listen to me. Previous classes don't read this. What does this say?
Signature, date of authorized inspection.
So what do I see? A signature. And then I gotta gig it, because they missed this date. If the form says signature, date, then put the signature, date. Read the line very carefully. But we're not gonna sign that yet, because the work's not done. So when the IA comes by, he's gonna look at the back of this and say, what did you do? So this is where you describe what you did. Now, this is basically just a simple logbook entry on a 337 form for the work that you're doing. So you could state, oh, by the way, we have to transfer the registration number back here because it's the back of the page. What's the N number?
2325 X-rays.
And then the date is gonna be whatever the date we're gonna do. So it's gonna be what the form is signed off on. Okay, so let's say we're gonna do the whole overhaul, put it back into service, do the 337 form and get it all done today. So let's, for instance, so what's the date today?
21st.
Okay, so that's what the dates are on the front of the page gonna be, because that's where everybody's gonna sign it. Okay, so we're gonna use that for an example. So now the form says, what did I do? Yes.
Does this date that I'm completing the work have to be the same date as it's getting signed off? Can I get it off, like signed off the next day?
It's usually nice, yeah, you keep the dates the same. Yeah. For good record keeping, just keep the dates the same as the back and the front. Because sometimes these are on separate sheets, and they don't want this to get separated from. So if you have the aircraft number and the date, they Most of the time, this is double-sided, a lot of times forms can get separated and printed out, 2 sheets. Okay, so, what do? Overhauled, and you can write out overhauled, you'd be typing this out because you can have, it's all PDF billable. Overhauled engine in accordance with Continental IO 550B overhaul manual. Is that what we did? That's what we did. Overhaul the engine in accordance with Continental IO 550 overhaul manual. Now, we have to have approved data. What's our approved data?
Would it be the overhaul manual?
It's the overhaul manual. It's a little trick question there, right? It's the overhaul manual. If you're gonna have an overhaul manual for a supercharged engine, Continental's gonna make sure that that happens to get FAA approved, because they know doing an overhaul is a major repair. So Continental will work with the FAA and say, hey, we'll get this overhaul manual, this particular overhaul manual approved. So that overhaul manual will be your approved data. If it wasn't, then you would have to go to the FAA and say, hey, I'm overhauling the supercharged engine, and I got the overhaul manual, and it's not FAA approved, so FAA guy, can you come over here and put your blessing on it? He'll say, okay, and go ahead, use that manual. He'll sign that other block stating it's gonna be okay to use that manual. Now he approved it, yes.
How can you tell if the manual's FAA approved or not?
It'll have an FAA certification stamp and signature on it.
Do the pay the FAA person, I assume, to come out?
They could. They could. Sometimes they'll do that just under surveillance, but not for this job. They'll just want to make sure that they're giving you the data that you need, and then you can go ahead and do the repair. Because you always got to have approved data before you do the repair.
So they won't charge us for us.
Oh, no, no, no. We're already paying them with our taxpayer money, you know. Yeah. They work for us. Sorry, my mind is wandering. I'm thinking about some way that I can tell an FAA inspector to come see him. Because they work for us, right? No, just kidding. Okay, guys, you following me so far on this? You got this? It's pretty simple. This is what we did. Now, if we're doing other things in here, now if we follow the overhaul manual will say, you gotta measure this stuff. And if the stuff that's measured is bad, then you're gonna have to replace it. The overhaul manual say you have to put new seals and O-rings in it. The overhaul manual say you'll have to do this. So if you followed everything in the overhaul manual, there's no reason to list all of the detail that you did. So just by stating that you did everything in accordance with that manual, that is the, or reference to the description that we talked about in part 43.9. Yes.
Sorry, what was the, so if the maintenance manual isn't FAA approved, you'll get an FAA inspector to come in and be like, yep, I approve it. Where would he like formally write that?
Turn the page over. Right here.
Right there?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
This was in there. What block number is that? Right there. But our overhaul manual for the supercharged engine is already FAA approved. So it's got the big FAA stamp on it, signature on the cover of the overhaul manual, and it'll make a statement. This manual is FAA approved. That's how you know. So we really don't need to go any further than that. We don't. Now, there might be some other details that we might want to throw in there. I don't know. I've never overhauled an integral supercharged engine before, because it'll have the casting will have a great big thing back here, and the supercharger will be built into it. So we'll leave it at that, okay? That's your approved data. very important. What does that say?
If more space is required, attach additional sheets.
Weight balance. Weight balance or operating limitation changes shall be entered in the appropriate aircraft record. An alteration must be compatible with all previous alterations to ensure continued conformity with applicable airworthiness requirements.
Okay, so if we overhaul the engine, are we changing the weight of that engine? No, not really. We're just putting making sure all the parts are up to a good overhaul standard. You know, replacing the seals, putting maybe new cylinders on it, stuff like this, whatever we gotta do. Might have to put a new crankshaft in it. So we could list some parts if we wanted to be more specific. So let's say, for instance, we're overhauling it, and we decide that the crankshaft is out of limit. We measure it, it's out of limit, we have no choice, we have to get a new crankshaft. Now, we can list that on here for additional information. Installed, new, or it could be an overhauled crankshaft, who knows? Yeah, let's do an overhaul crankshaft. Installed, overhauled, crankshaft, part number, and if it's serialized, we can put serial number. Okay, that's a major portion of the engine, so that would make sense that if we had to change that crankshaft for any reason, we'd want to list that. The other thing is maybe the cylinders are actually good, so you didn't have to replace them. That's fine. But let's say, for instance, you found that just about every seal and gasket in there was shot. So you could also say, if you wanted to, installed all new seals. If you wanted to. And let's leave it at that. Let's just say we don't want to go any further than that. Okay.
Let's say like the crankshaft is like just barely like makes it. It's just like in tolerance. Would you put that down or no?
You
Like,
could,
so
if
like-
you wanted to. If it's in tolerance, you can put it right back in. But here's the thing, this is a good question, because this is a gray area. Let's say, for instance, this engine's going on your airplane, or your shop's airplane that you're working for. And you measure the crankshaft, and it says that the bearing journal can't be any lower than 3.555. If it's, and you measure it, and it's 3.555. In other words, if it was 3.554, it's no good. It has to meet those dimensions to be put back in. But if it's at 3.555, would you put it in and run it for another 1,700 hours? You could if you wanted to, but then you'd have to talk with the people and say, hey, we are at the very minimum of being legal to put this back in. But is it smart to put it back in? And the owner might say, you know what, no, let's just put an overhauled one in with much larger dimensions in it so we can get 1,800 hours out of it. That's just an example of what you can run into. But if everything meets the specs, and if it don't, put the new parts in it. If it meets the specs, put it back in. Yes,
That says installed, overhauled. Is that
crankshaft. I didn't realize right now
Crankshaft.
crankshaft.
So it's crankshaft and then what is it?
Part number and serial number.
And-
Yeah, if it has a serial number on the crankshaft. Yes.
Maybe this is going too deep into it, but I assume they make those tolerances with a decent amount of wiggle room. So that if it's in tolerance, then even if it's right there, you're probably still good for 100%.
Well, I don't know. See, the overhaul requirements are a little bit bigger tolerances than a new rebuilt one. When it comes from the factory, when it gets rebuilt from the factory, the titers are within new specs. Overhauled specs are a little bit bigger that they allow you to go. So if you're gonna go outside those specs, I wouldn't do it. Okay, so that's as far as we're gonna go. There's your logbook entry on the back of that 337 form. Everything's done, everything's back together, you even got it installed on the engine, and everything works great. You're happy with it, good oil pressure, it makes power, and now you gotta approve it for return to service, right? the IA back, because you already told them what you're gonna do. So now, back on that weight and balance, if there was a weight and balance change, let's say for instance, an STC, an alteration, and it added, 5 pounds to the aircraft, then you would have to make a statement down here that you went ahead and updated the weight and balance. I'll come back to that, because I don't wanna miss that. Okay, so we're done with the overhaul, now we come back up here, and I'm happy with everything I did. So me as we're with the certified repair station, so I'm gonna sign off for that. What's the date today? 21?
Yeah.
Okay. So I signed it and I dated it. All this is filled out. We're good. Now I have to call the IA. So now the IA comes over, says, yeah, I got everything back together. You run it. Everything's good. Let me see the data you used. Oh, the overhaul manual, great. It's FAA approved. IA probably would have known that because you would have called him ahead of time anyways. Job's done. He comes over. He says, all right, I like what I see. I will approve it. And I am an IA. And here's my certificate number. And I'm going to sign it. Actually, I'm not the IA. Why, good. And then I'm going to date it. Let's say I'm the mechanic working for the repair station and I'm an IA. Can I do that? Absolutely.
Make sure you put your hat around them.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta turn the hat around. Is the 337 form done? As far as filling out the form, it is. Now, who processes this form? The IA or the mechanic? The mechanic. He has the burden to do it. So now he's gonna take this form, that's all signed by the IA and everything. He's good to go. So now he's going to make an aircraft logbook entry and an engine logbook entry. So you want it in the aircraft that you overhauled an engine, C337 form dated 10/21/25. That's what's gonna be in the logbook entry. You're also gonna make an entry in the engine logbook that you overhauled it. That's just common sense. So you're gonna say overhauled engine in accordance with overhaul manual, installed new crankshaft, part number, serial number, anyways, just kind of duplicate it. And all new seals and stuff, anything else you did, and ran it, operational check, made power, anything you wanna put in there. It all works good. And then you make an entry and you sign it off in the engine logbook. So you don't have to say in the logbook that you performed a major repair. All you have to do is say, hey, I did the engine, overhauled the engine, well, I removed it, I installed it, blah, 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 whatever, put new oil in it, this is what I serviced the oil with, and you sign it off. And that's pretty much the end of it there. But you have to reference 337 form, both in the airframe records and in the engine records. Overhaul, reference form 337, dated 10/21/25, because that's what the FAR say. If you did a major repair, make sure you reference the form in your logbook entry with date. And then, after I make the logbook entry, I have to do something with this 337 form. So it goes with the records, with the airplane records. There might be a separate binder where they like to keep 337 forms in there. And then we have to mail a copy to the FAA in Oklahoma City. Done. That's it. So now, let's go back and do a simple, we're gonna do the same thing to this airplane, this aircraft, not the engine, but to the aircraft. We're gonna do the same thing, but only this time, we're gonna do an alteration. So everything's gonna be the same up here, same aircraft and number, everything like that. We don't need any FAA because the STC is approved FAA. That supplemental type certificate that company created this cargo compartment for that you can attach to the bottom of the airplane, it's all FAA approved, and STC is FAA approved. So we got the STC, we got the kit, we went ahead and put it on the airplane, it's all set, and now we have to fill out the 337 form. So it's gonna be an airframe alteration, and we don't have to put anything here, because it's already described above. Now on the back side, we transfer this, don't forget it, with the date. And then we're gonna go ahead and fill this out. Installed. Belly, cargo, cargo, kit, STC number, I don't know, we can make something up, right? So the actual STC number that's on your STC, because you have an STC that I handed out, this is the cover sheet. So install belly cargo kit, STC number to number, so now what do? We install the belly kit, a cargo kit. What's my approved data? The STC. The STC is the approved data. And I have to put the STC approved data number back here. Has to be. I just added 30 pounds to the aircraft. Are we gonna have to update the weight and balance forms?
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So now I have to make sure that I say something like, weight and balance updated. Do I have to get into specifics? I don't have to, but I could say something like, added 30 pounds to aircraft. Spell that out. And I make a thing that says weight and balance updated. Now, there's something that I didn't do on the first one, I failed to do, I apologize. But, so I'm gonna show you what to do when you end your entry, because you have to have this. I can't believe I missed this on the first one. When your entry is made and completed on the back of this, and you have your description of what you did and the STC, then you do this. After you say weight balance updated, draw a line, go end, and draw a line. That's standard practice.
Only if you do the weight balance.
No. Yeah, I failed to show you on the first one.
Okay.
To complete your entry back here, add a line, put in, add a line. Nobody can add to your form. Nobody can stick it in and type in it and start adding stuff to it. You wanna make sure that you say end, whether it's a repair, alteration. I should have done this for this. I apologize, I should have done that. That's the way a 337 form should look on the back. And you can put as much data in here as you want. And then, even if you need an extra page, you could just add an extra page to it, but just make sure you put an end number and date on that extra page, and that gets submitted with the packet too. It could be quite detailed. You could, on one 337 form, have multiple STCs, as long as it's on one aircraft, because everything on the front of the 337 form would be the same. So you could have multiple STCs, or multiple kits. So that's what you would do. So what's the point, what's the takeaway on this? On the back, you have to show what your approved data was. Obviously, the STC number is your approved data. And it may have a date on it too. You might have to put the date on here too. But other than that, this is basically what it is. Yes?
So basically, for SMAT, they require us to put our manuals and our logbook entries. For this, you are required to put what data you use.
Exactly. You are absolutely required to put the data used on the 337 form. Because since you're doing a 337 form, you're doing something that is a major, whatever it is. Since it's a major, you have to use approved data.
Yep.
And then you have to say what your approved data is on the 337. Any other questions? Did you follow me? Think you could fill one of these out if you were given some data? Yes.
So we mail a copy of this out for a home run, we also email it, is that like we're doing electronically, or do we need to?
It could be, if you're signed up for doing electronic stuff, you can do 337 forms.
Need to be signed up for electronic?
Yeah, because you have to be in their electronic signature
Oh,
envelope. But you can just sign it, put it in an envelope and mail it.
What if you, like, made it a PDF and then emailed it? Or does it have to be part of the?
If there's instructions on where to email it to.
Oh.
I don't know, City, you have to research that.
If I send a physical copy in the mail, is it not airworthy until that gets there, or can I?
Nope, nope, it's already been approved for return to service by the IA, remember?
Yep.
So,
So I'm good to go, I just have to make sure it gets to them.
yeah, so,
How soon will they let you know, confirm that they received it?
they won't,
How do we know it didn't get lost in the mail?
you won't. Yep, you won't. So now you're gonna come back and you're gonna sign this, on the front, obviously, when it's done. And the IA is gonna sign it and get it all taken care of back here. This form's complete, now you process it, mail it in. Now, if you're the one that installed this STC, or if you're the one that did that overhaul in the engine, is it a good idea for your own records to keep a copy of that 337? Absolutely. But by law, you're only required to do 2 copies. And that's gonna be a question